what if the secret to becoming unstoppable wasn't about adding more to your life, but about disappearing from it entirely? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical strategy for personal transformation. It's called the winter arc, a period of intentional isolation that's designed to help you come back as a completely new person. Does this sound familiar? That feeling of being pulled in a million different directions all at once? You know, the constant notifications, the endless scrolling. It's like you're just treading water, trying not to drown in all that digital noise.
And that right there is the core of the problem. This isn't just a minor distraction. All that noise is like a thick fog that completely clouds your vision. It stops you from focusing on what actually matters. And honestly, it sets you up for a future where you're looking back with a whole lot of regret about what could have been.
Okay, so what's the fix for all this constant noise? Well, we're not talking about some small tweak or a simple life hack here. The answer is something way more intense, something truly radical: the winter arc.
So what exactly is a winter arc? Think of it as a period of intentional silence and isolation. You're not just being a hermit for no reason. It's a strategic retreat from the world, and it has one single, incredibly ambitious goal: to completely rebuild your identity right from the ground up.
And listen, this isn't some weekend getaway. We are talking about a serious, serious commitment. The recommended time for this is anywhere from 90 to 180 days. Yep, that's 3 to 6 months dedicated entirely to this process of reinventing yourself.
And you really can't overstate how ambitious this is. The goal is literally to rebuild your identity from zero. This is not about making small tweaks. It's about shedding all the old layers, the bad habits, the outside influences, the expectations, so you can engineer a brand new version of yourself completely from scratch.
So how in the world do you even start something like this? Well, it all begins with one absolutely crucial first step. You have to aggressively, and I mean aggressively, eliminate everything that's unnecessary. And what exactly qualifies as noise? Well, it's all that superficial stuff that just drains your energy and your focus. We're talking about the endless, mindless scroll of social media, the empty calories of gossip, and, those relationships with so-called friends who don't actually support your growth. But why is cutting all this stuff out so important? It's not about punishing yourself. The whole point of creating the silence is to give yourself the mental space for your own vision to get bigger, to expand, and to become absolutely crystal clear. Okay, so once you've created all that silence, you can't just leave a vacuum, right? You have to fill that space with something powerful. And that brings us to step 2. You're going to build what's called a fortress routine. I absolutely love this metaphor. It's not just a schedule, it's a fortress. It's a daily structure of habits and actions that you design specifically to protect your focus. This could be anything, really: dedicated hours of deep work to learn a new skill, intense physical training, or a non-negotiable hour of reading every single day. And this routine really does 2 things perfectly. On one hand, it gives you structure. It's the rigid framework you absolutely need during isolation so you don't just drift aimlessly. And on the other hand, it's a shield. The idea is that every single action you take is designed to protect your future self from looking back with regret. So, you've cut the noise and you've built the fortress. What happens next? This is where the real transformation kicks in. This is the part where you're actively forging your new unstoppable self. Just look at the difference here. It's a powerful contrast, right? Before, you have the person who's tangled up in all that noise. They're reactive, they're distracted, they're easily influenced by others. But the person who comes out of the winter arc, totally different. They're focused, they're deliberate, and they're guided by their own clear vision, protected from future regret by that fortress they built. The big takeaway here is that this transformation doesn't just happen by accident. It is an engineered identity. It's a version of you that has been intentionally designed, built, and even stress-tested in isolation, so you can emerge resilient, focused, and ultimately unstoppable. And all of this really leaves us with one final provocative question. If you actually carved out a period of intentional silence in your own life, completely free from all the noise, what amazing version of you could you build?